Hello everyone, welcome. Ako nga pala si Daniel Indik. I'm one of the authors, Eight Letters. I have published three books, two novels, and one self-help. And today pag-uusapan natin topic ng rediscovering leadership. Yes, rediscovering leadership. And by the way, I'm currently working in a BPO and a supervisor. I've been working here for 8 years, and in my experience, I've worn many hats. I was a trainer, I was a TA or sa recruitment or talent acquisition, and then I become a supervisor or team leader. And I've witnessed different types of leaders. Some I will say misguided or immature or needing help on how to improve their leadership. So bakit rediscovering leadership? Kasi most of the leaders are nandyan na sa leadership and they just don't know how to lead. And I noticed that yung iba naging napunta sa position just because they were endorsed and they were not prepared. They were promoted but not prepared. That's why when they handle a team or the task, they somehow messed up and you're not doing well sa leadership. But it's not. But it's not supposed to be like that. There's gotta be a right way of leadership. There's gotta be a right way of handling people, and there's gotta be a right way of achieving goals and metrics and quota, whatever you want to call it. I want to take you back in time to during the early humans, way past the medieval time. They were having a problem back then. It wasn't about the invading, neighboring countries, mga tyrant countries. Ang problema nila doon back then are yung environment. It was the environment, the harsh environment, and the mga wild beasts na nakapalibot sa kanila, mga saber-tooth, mga ano pa mga beasts. So yun ang danger sa kanila. So what they have decided is to gather a group, to stand together and pick one among them, choose that person as a leader, and that leader will receive the perks, the fresh meat, the good tent, the warm tent, in exchange that he will be the might and mind sa group to protect them from the harsh environment, to be the strategist, and to solve their problems. And leadership changes as time progresses until sa present time it's depending sa government type ng isang country or the group of people that they're basing their leadership. So that's the origin of leadership. And today we have a lot of rants towards our leaders, diba? Sa government, sa private companies, from employees, from people. Maraming complaints because of bad leadership na nakita nila. And it's as if they don't know how to lead. And even yung mga gurus sa online, sa podcast, are teaching the wrong thing, wrong leadership style. So in other words, we have lost the spirit of leadership and the right way to do it, right intention, the heart, the purpose, the art, the drive, the passion, and the foundation, and the reason, and the truth, the joy, and the purpose of leadership. That's why we have to rediscover it today in this session. The first point I want to make is yung tinatawag kong the cause. Ito yung tinatawag kong the contract of leadership. I'm talking about the mission and vision. Yes. Mission and vision today para na lang palamuti. Para na lang flower base. Naka-display lang. Para na lang siyang business permit na pinapakita natin, we hang them on the wall, but we don't believe them. And how many leaders that we know, and you know, and I know, now when you ask them, do you know the mission and vision of the company? They would say, hindi. Diba? Ganito kayo yun eh. It's the reason why maraming nagdi-divide ng mga companies. Even churches nagdi-divide kasi hindi iba-iba yung mission and vision nila. Iba-iba yung goal. Should be one goal dapat. And ang cause is very powerful kasi lahat ng effort mo, yung innovation mo, lahat ng plans mo, it should point towards something, somewhere, a future, a destination. But kung hindi mo alam ang mission vision at the work ka as leader ka sa isang company, ang nangyari is you're making your own plans na different paths sa company ng mission and vision or goal. And mangyari is hindi magtutugma, hindi ka ma-align sa lahat, at you will fail. And even learning the skill and technicalities sa isang company, if you know the goal, it will be easy kasi may direction ka eh. Now, I remember when I applied to this current company na tatrabahuan ko, I was being interviewed back then, and when the interviewer asked me, well, it's normal, like a default question sa hiring process. Why should we hire you? And sabi ko, I'm amazed with, I did a konting research sa company about the mission and vision of the company, and I love it, and I want to partake. I want to be part of it. I want to be part of something bigger than myself. That's why I'm here 8 years now, and I've been switching positions kasi I enjoy learning. I'm not after with position, but I'm after with experience. Once again, I've been a trainer here. I've been in talent acquisition. I interview people also. Ginagamit ko yan. They should know the mission and vision of the company before joining. And now I'm a supervisor. So yun, that's ang impact ng if a leader knows the cause, the mission and vision of the company, it will be an edge for him. Lahat ng skills, lahat ng learnings, lahat ng effort niya is pointing towards something. And it's going to be fun. And it's going to be an effective leader. That is the cause. Another thing that the cause helps sa isang leader is that yung attitude. You know, it's as a leader and as an employee, it's not about pursuing numbers. Hindi yun eh. It's about the attitude. Kasi have you noticed na marami mga leaders na magaling sa numbers pero napaka-terrible human being, terrible person, terrible people na hindi marunong magkasama, very tyrant, very magiging dictator ka. Yes, you're hitting the number, but actually you are destroying the company because you are toxic. And it's not about hitting the numbers, it's about advancing the cause. Yun. Also, there's a research na the people who join a cause bigger than themselves live a meaningful life, live a life filled with purpose, and yun, nakakatulong din ito sa depression kasi there was a time along back in the 40s merong mga suicide rates from young people, and you know yung rason, because they didn't get drafted sa war, because they want to partake, they want to join the war, they want to fight for your country because that was yung cause eh. That's the power of the cause. Yes, that's the power of the cause. Next point I want to talk about is medyo flashy ito, pero fancy words. Reverse accountability. Reverse accountability. We've heard a lot of accountability, di ba? We put employees, the team under our care, that they are accountable, and us also being accountable sa team performance and sa score. But this is this is a unique way of thinking of as a leader, yung tinatawag kong reverse accountability. Reverse accountability ay, for example, you have a team, you're a leader. When the team is not hitting the goal, or some members are not doing right sa score, instead of blaming them, maybe it's you who's the problem, the leader, the one who leads them, right? Kasi sabi nga, may kasabihan na if the blind leads the blind, they both fall to the pit. So, as you're the one leading them, instead of questioning them or pinapagalitan mo sila at question mo na yung skills nila, how about we reverse it? How about maybe it's you who is not doing well sa pag-lead, sa pag-come up ng strategy, ng action plan? That's reverse accountability. In other words, reverse accountability is when something goes wrong sa team, you don't blame people, you don't blame your team. You put the blame on yourself so that you will think, you will improve, you will come up with a strategy, you will seek for wisdom, you will think, you will come up with a solution and solve the problem. So that's reverse accountability. So once again, when you have a team members that's failing, instead of questioning them, how about you question yourself? What am I teaching? Am I teaching them enough? Is it really them that's the problem, or maybe it's me, diba? So, and I believe that true leaders are the ones na mayroong reverse accountability mindset. When something goes wrong sa team, may nakakamali, they question themselves. They put the blame on them, they put the accountability on them, so that they could teach them and guide them more, yung team members nila. The next point I'm going to talk about is maybe it's not applicable sa church leaders, maybe it's not applicable sa some leaders, but this will be applicable for leaders or companies na mayroong third parties, like mayroong clients, like sa BPO. So if you think this is not applicable for you, you can skip this point, and go to the next point. So at this point, I want to talk about medyo flashy again dito kasi I'm a novelist, so I can't help myself use words from novels and flashy words and sentence. So it's called The Death Cure. Sounds familiar, right? Obviously, kinuha ko yan sa Maze Runner. Death Cure. This is very important because if you are in a company na merong third party and we have clients, it's very important to understand which side are you on. And if you are a manager or if you are a director who's nakikinig dito, you have to check your leaders, your supervisors, your managers, your senior managers, your directors, if they are on the side of your company, hindi yung side sa client. Because I have this experience sa company na tinatrabuhan ko, is that when leaders act like a client, that's a death for the company or for that side. Because what's gonna happen is that clients only demand, they don't really come up with an action plan because they're clients. So what happens if our leaders will join them, or if you join them, demand ka lang demand, you will be paralyzed, you will not be using your brain, hindi ka na mag-come up ng action plan because you're acting like clients. Demand ka lang demand. That's why you have to check yourself, if are you acting like a death to the company, or it should be a death cure to the company. You should take the side of the company, not the clients, because if that happens once again, you will be as useless as you can be if you act like a client. I call this disease as zombification sa company. If those leaders have decided to act like a client, like demand at hindi tumutulong, they are the zombies of the company. They are bringing death to the site, to the company, and to everything. So very short lang ang point nito, and that is the death cure, and you should be the death cure and choose your side. Alright, so next point I want to talk about is the light yoke. Sounds so familiar again, di ba? Of course, kinuha ko to sa Bible, yung sabi ni Jesus na my yoke is easy and the burden is light. What I mean by this is that we leaders, we tend to barrage, to to bombard our team with a lot of tasks, from directors to senior managers to supervisors. Paraging dagdag ng trabaho, di ba? Kaya nga mayroon tayong mga memes sa social media na dagdag ng trabaho, wala namang increase, di ba? So we should be mindful of that. If every week ka na lang nagdag-add ng task sa team members mo, imagine it will affect their productivity and their effectiveness. And we don't see that kasi blind tayo nito eh. It's like this week utusan ka magwalis sa bakuran. The next week naman utusan mo siyang linisin ang CR. So 2 tasks na, so they can perfect it kasi dalawa pala yung ginagawa nila. And then the other week utusan mo silang magsipak ng kahoy. So tatlo na. So somehow para yung productivity na is somewhat affected. And the next week another task. And what's crazy kasi yung mga leaders they're wondering why yung mga leaders nila are not doing all the tasks. Like, really? That's a crazy question. That's why we should be mindful, and we should apply the light yoke. When we add a task, we should remove a task so that yung yoke is balanced, same ang kabigat. Kasi once again, in my experience, I'm seeing a lot of leaders not fulfilling their tasks kasi napakarami na eh. And syempre yung mga superiors namin, they think that it's an easy task, magwalis lang. It's an easy task, pero magwalis ka ng buong planeta, how would you feel to do that, diba? Yun, that's my point. So apply the light yoke. And even me as a leader, I have team members under my care. I'm very cautious on the tasks that I'm giving to them. I have to make sure that it's a light yoke. It's not gonna affect their performance and productivity. So that's the light yoke. The yoke is easy, the burden is light. Next is the most basic, very familiar, that is brainstorming, diba? And this is most problems of my leaders because they don't brainstorm because they gusto nila sila yung brain with everything, every decision, every move. They want to be the only brain, which is wrong. Kasi nga you have to know that your team members could be smarter than you. I always believe that some of my team members could be smarter than me, diba? Kaya I always do brainstorming. And I remember a quote from Steve Jobs, the late Steve Jobs, who invented Apple. Sabi niya, it doesn't make sense that we hire people and tell them what to do. We hire people so that they could tell us what to do. And it's intriguing, in my experience. Even though I do brainstorming sa aking team so that we could solve the problems, I present the problems, how do we solve this? But it's sad, with my superiors, we never had. It's very rare to have a brainstorming talaga because they don't wanna hear your opinion, which is bad and sad. Because they think that they're the best, but which is not. They think they're smarter than you, but it's not. Obviously not. That's why we are not improving because we're not utilizing the other brains in our team, in our company. I remember a memory when I was in high school. We have a classmate. In my third year ba kami or ako or fourth year in high school, and meron kaming classmate na babae. Binubuli siya kasi binubuli siyang pangit yung buhok. But during our math class, yung mga matatalino sa amin, we have this problem solving sa math. na nasa sa board. And then nag-try na lahat ng mga pinakamatalino sa amin. I tried as well, and hindi na nasagot yung equation. And then yung teacher namin nag-ask, anyone else na gusto mag-try? And then tahimik yung mga matatalino kasi hindi na na-solve yung problem. And then here comes yung binubuli namin. Tumayo siya at kumuha ng chalk, sinagot niya yung equation perfectly, precisely, and all of us were shocked. And that sends a message, na we may be smart, but among us could be smarter than us. So that was the lesson that I learned. So very important talagang brainstorming. All right, and the next point is somewhat connected to previous points. It is don't just demand. You should engineer a plan. Don't demand, engineer a plan. I don't want to use the term action plan because it's being abused by leaders. Action plan, wala namang action, wala namang plan. So I want to use, how about engineer a plan? So don't just demand, engineer a plan. Once again, this is what happens to leaders na get promoted but not prepared. So parang na-endorse lang sila sa position but they don't know how to lead. And yung ginagawa nila is demand ng demand, and until to the point na naging toxic sila and nadi-demoralize yung team members kasi nga walang action plan, walang the leaders not thinking how to solve a problem, and they're just relying on his team members. Solve it, we have a problem, solve it. Demand ng demand. No, it shouldn't be. As a leader, you should be the one leading them. You should be the one solving the problem. With the help of your team, with brainstorming, hindi ka lang dapat nagdidemand. Kasi if you're just demanding, I'm sorry to tell you that you don't deserve that position. Maybe you should leave that position, because leadership is for those who are willing to engineer an action plan, a solution. But to those who just demand, you're not a leader. You don't belong to leadership, and you should leave leadership. Because as a leader, you should help the team. You should identify the problems, and you should solve the problems. You should guide the team. You should help the team. Hindi ka lang nagdidiman dapat. And to the point na if you do that, dapat nga you should have like a solution brand. Like when people look at you, they will think of a solution that you can provide. Dapat ganun ang leaders. You should have a solution brand. Like when you think about Mark Zuckerberg, you'll think about Facebook. When you think about Keanu Reeves, you'll think about John Wick. When you think about Tom Cruise, you think about Mission Impossible, diba? So how about when people think about you? Iron, demanding, or the amazing leader, the great leader, diba? That's why a lot of people, marami silang like sinasabi sa akin, when you think about me, you think about an author, because that's my brand. And of course, I want to be a leader as well. So where I'm working, that whenever my workmates will think about me, I want to think about something that I could provide, like a solution brand. Dapat yun ang purpose mo. You should have a solution brand, hindi yung demand brand. Right? Alright, so there you have it. Next point is innovate. Ito na naman tayo, no? Napaka-simple. We heard this again and again. We heard this a lot. Innovate. What is innovation ba talaga? What is innovation? Innovation simply means solving problems. That's what it means. True leaders are innovators. Yes, they are problem solvers. If you're not an innovator, you should be. If you are a leader, you should be innovating in your position, in your team, sa company na tinatrabahuan mo. And Innovation starts by identifying, yung mga simple problems, very small details, mga processes, mga issues sa team mo, sa company, sa within your role, and try to fix it one by one, slowly by slowly. And sometimes innovation, when you apply innovation, it could give birth to a new technology, just like what you're thinking about innovation when you heard the word. Or sometimes when you apply innovation, it could change the size, or it could change the size of the object. And sometimes it could add something to what's working. Let me give you an example. Good example for innovation is yung Jollibee. Alam mo yung Jollibee, there was a time na maraming mga complaints na kapag nag-order sila, napakabilis, sobra sila mag-decide, like sila pa nag-decide para sa'yo. At ako na-experience ko yun, di ba? Like, kahit hindi mo gusto ng mag-upsize ng drinks, ina-upsize sila kasi yun ang suggestion nila. And then, kahit hindi mo gusto mag-chicken, naka-yes ka na lang kasi napakabilis ng kahit hindi mo gusto ng spicy lang yung order mo. Ang ending, pagdating mo sa table, you will complain, papa-replace mo. So, it's a waste of, di ba? Waste of food sa management, sa Jollibee. And I have a friend who work in the Jollibee as a crew. Meron daw silang meron silang time limit when they place an order. Like, I think 2 minutes or 3 minutes, dapat tapos na sila. So, that's why nagmamadali sila. Because they have a limit, parang AHT, kumbaga sa call center. And nag-backfire yan. They receive a lot of feedback, and there's a problem. So I think yung leaders of Jollibee, they come up with a solution. There's gotta be a device, there's gotta be a way or a device that should give time to the customers, unlimited time that they could place an order. And therefore, the kiosk was born. You take your time, kahit buong araw ka humarap sa screen, you could take as much as time as you want, because that was the response. That was yun yung innovation na ginawa nila sa problem. That's number one. So, di ba? Innovation could give birth to a new technology. So, yun. Second example is yung mineral water. There was a time, na-try na bang mag-commute sa bus na nagsisiksikan, tapos may nagbebenta ng tubig, tapos may bag ka pa, may hawak ka pang cellphone, tapos may hawak ka pa nito, tapos iinom ka pa, napakahirap, tapos pag inom mo, na-drop mo yung bottle, tapos you have no choice, itatapon mo na kasi wala nang takip diba? Wala nang lid. So, marami pang complaints about problem na konti lang nainom nila, nahuhulog yung takip. So, wala, nasayang yung tubig. So, therefore, they have applied innovation to solve the problem. Kaya ngayon, yung mineral water is pag in-open mo, nakadikit na yung lid sa bote, which is very brilliant innovation from mineral water. And once again, I'm not getting paid by endorsing Jollibee and mineral water, but those are amazing examples of innovation. Last innovation example ko is, I said it could change the shape of the thing, diba? Coca-Cola. Sa Pilipinas, kapag inutusan tayo bumili ng Coke, nasa iskinita lang, sa kanto, or nasa harapan ng bahay natin, meron sila nag-gather na feedback na, di ba ang bote kapag malamig, madulas yan di ba? Kasi nag-water yan, di ba? So, nababasag. So, nag-receive sila ng maraming feedback na nababasag yung bote kasi nila-slide, lalo na kapag inuutusan natin, mga 5 years old, mahihina pa yan wala pa silang grasp so nahulog. So they have come up with a solution. So the leaders in Coca-Cola did a great job thinking with a solution to solve the problem na hindi na mahulog yung bote ng yung liter. I'm talking about yung litro. kapag inutusan yung mga bata. Kasi yun yung culture natin dito eh, di ba? Utusan ng mga bata to buy a Coke sa eskinita. So they have come up with a solution and they have changed the shape of the Coca-Cola. Pag grinip mo, kahit bata yung humawak, hindi na siya may slide. That's innovation. So in your team, you can identify all the problems and apply innovation. Once again, it's amazing kasi if you apply that, because it could give birth to a new technology, it could add something, it could change the shape of the process or the methods on how you achieve your goals. You should apply innovation. All right. And here's our last point of this topic is tinatawag kong inverse accountability. Inverse accountability. This is connected to reverse accountability. We talk about reverse accountability is that instead of blaming your team members, you put the blame on yourself, and you're the one accountable. Diba? So inverse accountability naman, ito yung giving up on employees or people who work for us, who work in the company, but to those na hindi align sa cause, they don't believe in the cause, they don't follow any engineered plan. Ito yung may will issue, hindi skill issue, but will issue, that no matter how you coach them, they don't really align sa goal, sa mission and vision ng company. They have a will issue. So ito yung mga tao na mga employees na they're not ready yet for this cause. So in other words, when you have employees, when you have a team members like that, you don't condemn them. You don't scold them, you don't chastise them, but you let them go peacefully. You coach them that, you know what, I don't think you're ready for this company yet, to where it's heading. I think you should leave the company, and once you're ready, you should come back. It's a nice way of doing, of letting go people without being toxic, without being, walang nagsasakitan. Kasi that's why meron tayong mga HR parang referees, kasi nag-aaway yung mga employees, yung leaders, kasi nga you don't know how to handle, you don't know how to do the right way of letting go people. That's why it's an inverse accountability. So you let them go peacefully, diba? I remember when I was in TA, talent acquisition recruiter, nag-interview ako ng mga applicants. I can see na mayroon mga applicants na very enthusiastic, very joyful. Like when I ask them questions, they give a lot of answers na hindi in line that I didn't ask. And I said, you know what, you're overexcited. I can see your passion, but it just doesn't align with our culture here. So maybe, and then here's our vision, and maybe in the future, you can join us, but not today, not now. So I don't hire them. So there you have it. Those are the points that I believe that pointing out rediscovering leadership. That's the right way of leadership. That's the right way of handling people. It's the right way of achieving goals and metrics. So that's rediscovering leadership. And thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy it.